ultimately, I will ruffle a few feathers with this car. Some people might not like it, others might love it. I don't know, it's my idea of just, I love these cars. So, I've forgotten the question, but hopefully that was a good answer. Juice Motors is based in the Garden of England, which is Kent. We are based in a very Land Rover-centric place, and there's loads of Defenders around us, but they do come from afar. There's a lot of kind of Defender weather, if you will, and dogs and stuff like that. We tend to fill up the workshop on a weekly basis. We have good fun, and it's now to the point where I'm thinking, let's do something crazy. Okay, so the car behind me is my first Defender and is the new build for this channel, and it was $4,000, and I rang this guy on eBay and he wouldn't sell it for any less, and I quizzed him. I was like, does it run, does it drive, how's the condition? He said it is really beaten and battered, but it's a good runner. So I was like, sweet, all right, do you know what, life's about these chances. And it turned up, and I remember shaking my head thinking, what on earth have I just bought? Because I looked underneath it and everything was broken. The chassis was super rusty, the back of the cross member was just non-existent and destroyed, and it looks like a bear had been mauling the interior. It stank. It was horrific. So I proceeded to plough money into it until my mistake was no more. I've always loved modifying cars. It was a hobby turned business turned channel, I suppose. I used to work at the main dealers, and I love my time there. But I love the modification side, and I'm so passionate about what you can do to these vehicles. I see the Defenders as kind of like a blank canvas. Personally, the design aspect of creating a build and making all the modifications that we're doing, it allows you to be really creative on an automotive base. On the face of it, we've got a lot of special builds and custom builds and extreme trucks and stuff like that, and it looks crazy, and it's really cool, but there's nothing better than installing a factory-looking modification. It just looks like it was supposed to be there. OEM modifications with a hint of madness. I often see a lot of cars come through the workshop where you've kind of got a ladder on the back but no roof rack, and you think, what are you climbing up there for then? And it's little things like that which I think all add up into a huge picture. If you go down one route of something, then you've got to keep to that design and take it all the way through. I fell in love with its charm because I actually love the way it's got this patina and the way it's worn and how it's beaten up and how it's been used. And that's why I put these wheels and tyres on it, I put the roof rack on. I just went for this build that was like, okay, so it's beaten up, let's make it look like it's had a lifetime of adventure, but it was built by Land Rover, a decade ago or so. So I just got a load of used parts and just made it look cool. And I still love the way it looks. It's got a lot of character, but it's so basic, the most basic version of a Defender. And I just love it for how it is. I started with no money. I remember fixing an old Discovery 1 in the snow at 11 p.m. on a Sunday, and I put about 10 years getting my hands involved with anything, making mistakes, making it work, and until it was done correctly, and not even just it runs and it drives, like every bolt that came out went back in, and everything was perfect. That was my kind of ethos towards work. When I left the main dealers, I was leaving a good, stable job to go and work in the mud on anything I could get my hands on. I sold my Mini to buy my parts van now, and I basically kitted out with a little compressor and an air hose reel. It was so cute, and a little toolbox which is over there somewhere. And I just used to go around doing stuff at horrific times, horrific jobs, just taking any job I could. I ended up doing one job for a gardener who was on a farm, and he'd smashed his rear window on his Land Rover Freelander. So I changed the glass, and then the farmer approached me and said, do you want to come and look at this old milking barn, which was the first unit that some of you guys would have recognised. And I remember painting it with my girlfriend, painting it all yellow, and I just had this vision of Juice Motors. I remember standing in that building thinking, could this be? It was exciting, but I had no customers. And I remember thinking, I have to make this work. I have to make this work. 3 years later, we're now in this cool workshop, And I think most of it is down to persistence and just in general, just work hard, show up, and that comes down and translates through to the customers. We care and we love what we do. I've just got this real hankering to build something ridiculous. We're basically going to be rechassying it. We're going to be leaving the diffs and the transfer box. We're going to start from a fresh frame, and we're going to be fitting all new suspension to it and a set of 40-inch Maxxis Trepadors to a Rover axle. And we're obviously going to be doing all wide-angle double carbon props, hardened half-shaft CVs to take this strain, and hardened flanges, all the good stuff. So this will be the biggest project I've ever taken on, and I would like to think this is going to be the biggest 90 in the UK. So it's certainly going to turn some heads, and I'm sure some of you are going to go, "You've ruined the car." Probably, but we can always take them off, can't we? So I'm going to do what I want with my car because I love the process of it. It just feels such a raw experience to be driving this car. It just makes me smile, this thing, because it's a very different experience to what I'm driving on a daily basis. Whenever I take this thing out, you really have to drive it, and I can just hit everything. I feel like most cars today, you're sunk in this like modern office, and you've got like a big screen, which is very handy for modern day living. But this car to me is the total opposite. It's to get away from all the digital age, if you will. There's something so fantastic about it because it's, like I said, it's a very raw experience that you just don't get in today's modern age as disposable vehicles, I guess. This car has real character and charm. And it's driving a classic car, but it's got a TD5, so you can chip it and tune it and do all the fun stuff, and we can still have a lot of fun, hence what we're going to be doing. But it's just going to be an old beaten body stuffed on top. This is one of those models, you know, when it's heavily raining like it is now, you can hear all what's going on, all the weather's hitting all the roof, and I just really love it. And I don't feel sorry for repairing it or stripping it apart or anything I'm going to do to it, because anything we do can be undone, or any dents we get are just stories, and this car obviously has a lot of stories, and I fully expect that we're going to blow up some components. There's a lot of bits on this car that really need some attention. Can you hear that? really badly. It's not good.
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. Small problem. No, mate. Front proper snapped off. Yeah, the UJ snapped. So it's like the prop is obviously attached to the front diff, and it's just knocking around.
Right, okay.
Can you come down with a 15mm spanner and a windy gun and a little prop thing?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, mate. Bye, see you soon. I suppose what inspired me to take on this project was that I feel kind of sorry for it, and I feel like it's my responsibility to preserve it, because I look at it, I think this is just, there's some historic art going on here. See, behind the scenes, I don't do any of it. I think we're just going to have to go through this car and replace everything. We're very serious with cars, and don't get me wrong, I'm serious, but let's also have some serious fun.
Another Monday.
Save the day, Leon. Yeah. So that is totally destroyed. The UJ has split, snapped, and the prop has just swung round, smashed the boot floor, virtually making it undrivable. So my tech Leon has come out here and saved the day. Well, back to the workshop, I suppose. I suppose part of this is a bit of an escape. I've got total creative control, and the more original I can keep this car, body-wise, I appreciate underneath we're going to totally really have a party, but externally and interior, I just want it pretty much basic and normal. The parts have finally arrived. I'm really excited to take a look at them because it means we can actually finally start this build. So all these parts arrived within days of each other. So when that huge pallet arrived, like a kid at Christmas. So now is the really exciting bit, which is actually unboxing this. I've piled up everything here, and the first thing I'm going to do is say I'm really happy with TERRAFIRMA, and I thank you guys so much. I'm like a surgeon when it comes to unwrapping. Everything's very neatly placed. That was on the floor. You know, you can't mess around when you're in a professional environment like this. So yeah, super methodical when we're unwrapping stuff. TerraFirma have hooked us up big time for this build. Honestly, the stuff they've given us, I've got a list here because this is a mouthful. So, they have given us welded rock sliders, tree sliders. They basically sit just above the tub, but our wheel arches might get in the way. So, don't know, we'll maybe work it out once all the wheels are on. Huge Spectre arches to cover what the wheels are. It's a huge, huge wheel arch, and it never ceases to amaze me how big these things can look with just a set of these huge arches. And they come in this nice gloss black finish with a nice little protective sheet cover. They're not scratches, that's just to protect the high gloss black. I mean, look at the width of that. That is like a full hand width of mine. And I mean, this is just gonna make this car look even bigger, and every one of these parts is just gonna assist helping this vehicle come to life. Hardened CVs, hardened drive shafts. In order to run big wheels, you're gonna need strengthened drive shafts. Now these click into our diff. We're gonna build up the axles, see what happens. We've also gone and got our caster corrected radius arms. They're gold. So there's gonna be a real assortment of just fun colors in this build here. Hardened flanges and big spring dislocation cones. So the spring is gonna be allowed to dislocate out, and then obviously when it comes back in, it can click back into where it should be, because obviously our shocks are gonna be traveling a lot further than our springs. Super cool. Also, check what they have hooked us up with. They have given us a TerraFirma Mega Sport Plus 11-inch travel competition kit. So this thing is going to be able to flex and step like nothing else. The Holy Grail. Very excited about this because this took quite a good while to arrive, and that's because I believe that they're built to order. And with everything that's going on in the world now, it took even longer. But however, I don't know how many pieces are in this kit, but extensive modification is required to have this kit fit correctly. And this honestly looks like it's a 150-piece kit in here. I'm not worried about if there's any modification or some parts require a bit of fettling. It's what we do on a daily basis. So there's going to be some surprises, it's just the way cars go. But at this point, there's nothing we can come across that would stop us. I've never fitted this kit, but there is so much involved with this kit to make this vehicle not what it was designed to be. And I'm really, really excited to see what this kit can do, because it's advertised as an 11-inch kit. Now that means 11 inches of travel. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but I cannot wait to get stuck in and see what this kit can do. I mean, look at this. The size of the top turrets, monstrous. So a normal turret, probably about that high, which is for the suspension, the shocks. The shock is going to be ridiculously big, which all amounts to extended travel, because obviously when the axle drops down, most of the time what's limiting you is the spring will dislocate from the axle. If you're not helping your brake lines, the next thing to bottom out is your shock absorber. When it gets to the end of its travel, it will lock, your axle stops, it can't flex anymore. There's going to be a lot of flex there. Frame down, this thing is going to be 100% brand new. So this car is going to look sick when the body's in the air and the frame's on the ground, and we've got those monstrous, very shiny, electric blue, huge suspension kit bolted to it. Old engine and gearbox. That is going to look seriously cool. And then there's just going to be an assortment of gold and blue. You can look underneath. I reckon we can slide a mirror under this thing, and it's just going to be a talking point. So this is super cool seeing all this kit. I don't quite understand a lot of this stuff, but I'm amazed. It looks like an incredibly well-designed kit. Now this is like Christmas to me, seeing something like this. Hell. That is one massive shock absorber with a reservoir tank that you can keep out of the way of harm's way, so maybe pin it to the back of the A-frame. If I was to extend this shock, how much travel do you really need? This is going to be at the top end of competition truck spec. I can't imagine you're ever going to get stuck, and if you do, anything else is going to get stuck. But that is a serious piece of kit, and the quality of how pieces are machined, very, very nice. It looks like this is a really, really high quality, well thought out kit. We've also got a galvanised Richard chassis for a 90 TD5, which this car is. So a fresh frame, which is going to be the perfect base to start this project. And this is our brand new, built to order galvanised chassis for a TD590, which obviously this car is. And this is just going to be the whole fresh start to this car. Imagine this chassis, all of the suspension, every component from the chassis down will be brand spanking new. We've also got 40-inch Maxxis Trepador tyres, and the wheels for me are the cream. because they are insane. You could climb up this thing. If I cut the tyre open and put it on a wall, I genuinely think you could climb up the wall. And I just want to put them on. But they won't fit on this car, and they won't fit on any car, any Defender, unless there is extensive modification. 40-inch Maxxis Trepadors. Sweet, must be good. Now, I believe that this is one of the biggest size tyres that you can ever fit onto a Land Rover Defender, and this is just going to cause absolutely havoc. I mean, look at the size of this thing. They are absolutely monstrous in comparison to what's on the original. And the minute you start staring at this and you become accustomised to it, and then you look at what's on there at the minute, they just look very small, and there's nothing wrong with them, but this is just a total game changer, and I cannot wait to see a fresh chassis, all that shiny, crazy suspension kit, all properly bolted all up to it, and then roll these bad boys onto the original axles. So it's going to be incredible to see this thing come to life. I think there's going to be a lot of people who won't be happy with what I'm going to do to this car. I think there'll be a big majority of you guys who will thoroughly enjoy what we're going to do to this car. But it's definitely going to be a conversation starter, and if you're giving something to people to talk about, then that's always a good thing, I suppose. Whether it be good or bad, you can't deny that this thing is going to be pretty savage, because I think it's going to be the first one, and maybe the last. I love trucks. If this goes in. Okay guys, so I hope that you really enjoyed the episode. We had a lot of fun, and also a lot of fun unboxing all of those goodies. Don't forget to drop a comment and tell me what you guys think about this project. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, which is @JuiceMotors, and I'll see you guys next time.